Hello, I'm Princess Fuzzy. This is Vermillion VR oil painting simulator, and today I'm going to be painting a sunset scene from a photo that I took of the sunset in my house. I'm going to be painting it on the canvas here and explaining to you my process as I go through. So it's something of a paint along tutorial. If you care to follow me, you could probably paint this too. Anyway, I'm going to switch over to the first person view now and start painting. So let's go. Okay, here we are in first person. I've got my reference image, I've got my canvas, I've got my brushes, this is the default palette with all the Bob Ross colors, so I figured I may as well use that. It's good for painting landscapes. I've got some nice orange to match for these orange clouds and so on. So, first step was create a canvas. I created a 32 by 18 canvas because I like the widescreen format that equates to 16 by 9 aspect ratio. So 1080p, 4K, all those modern types of monitors, this is the size they are. So if you want to make paintings and put them as desktop backgrounds on a regular computer monitor, this is the aspect ratio you want for them to fit. So I've already gone ahead and set up the projector with my image. I've scaled it and moved it around to fit. So I've got it there ready to go as a reference. First step though, I don't need the projector. I just need to get the basic sky. So we're starting off. You can see that the sky is relatively dark blue at the top and it fades through to a lighter blue and then kind of goes into a yellowy color at the bottom there. So I'm going to start off with this lighter blue here, which is a bit too light, bright. So let's throw a little bit of the darker blue in there with it. That'll do. It's a little more saturated than what's there, but it'll do. So I'm going to put some down there on the tray here, and then I'm going to clear my palette for now so I don't end up making too much of a mess. So I'll get some of that. Now before I start painting with the blue, I need to remember to prime my canvas with white, because the canvas is already white, but it doesn't have any paint on it. We like to paint wet on wet, so just shrink the canvas right down and give it a quick coating with white. There we go. Now it's all nicely white. I can clean my brush and then begin with the blue. So that's blending very quickly. I don't want it to blend in that much, so I'm going to go to my options here, painting. I'm going to bring this canvas mixing sensitivity a long way down. Not quite off, but a lot further down than default. Now, I paint my blue. It actually stays blue for a while instead of almost immediately turning white. Alright, so let me just get some of that. Get some of that back on my palette because I like dipping from my palette more. Blending with this 2-inch brush, I've found, for me, the best way is to put the brush into the canvas and then make circular motions with it. This seems to blend and fade pretty well with that. See, when I'm doing back and forward stripes, I tend to bring it up too much. Too much of the white color comes through, so I just come back there. A bit more of that. Horizontal's fine as long as we continue going down. We never want to come back up from the white into the blue with that kind of motion because it just fades it out too much. I'm going to go for a bit more of my circular motions. More of that in there. Oh, now we're getting a bit too dark down here. So we've got the darkish blue up the top as we wanted. We haven't quite got the lighter blue further down there, so I'm going to take some of this main bright blue. I'm going to put a little bit of white into it. There we go, that's a nice lighter kind of blue. That sort of matches. And it's still more saturated. Everything I do is more saturated than my photos, I find. But it seems like a pretty good colour. So I'm going to clear that palette off again. Put some of this on here to work from. Gonna chuck some of that in here. Just laying some of that on, and then we can blend from there. Scrub it around a bit. And see how we go blending back up with it. Oh, it's kind of strong. It's not really blending as I go there. There we go, now we're getting some mid-tones in between. Now, while I'm doing this, something that's probably not apparent is that basically when I'm blending, every time I take my brush away from the canvas, I'm hitting the clear brush button on my controller, the clean brush button on my controller to get rid of any paint that I've picked up. So I'm basically always coming in with a dry, clean brush when I'm trying to start blending. So pick it up, hit clean, and then come back in again. And we don't really need to spend too much time blending all of this sky together because a lot of it's going to be covered with clouds and the rest of it's going to get a bit more blending work done on it as we go anyway. So as long as we've got a vague idea of that gradient, it should be all right. Now we're going to need a much whiter kind of blue color and then into the yellow down the bottom there. So let's mix some more of that white into the blue. Take some of it from there. Just put it there to save it. And then pop back into my canvas, my palette, sorry. Okay, now let's lay some of that down in here. Just scrub it around to smooth it out. And blending from the light up into the dark a bit there, I think. Alright, so got a good bit of blue gradient going on here now. Now down here it's definitely a yellowy colour. So let's get some yellow. And we'll get some white, lighten that up a bit. Whew. That yellow is powerful. Alright. There we go. Maybe that's a colour for our yellow. Put some of that. And let's chuck some of that in there. Now, as we blend this, there's a chance we're going to end up with a kind of greenish colour because, you know, yellow and blue makes green. So let's see what happens. So far so good. Not seeing any obvious greenness coming through. Let's get a bit of a mix of a twirl through here. Because they're both so light, maybe they're not really going to give us much of a green thing. I'm not an expert on colour theory and paint mixing, but it seems to be going alright. I don't seem to be having any kind of green problem, as you might call it. I'm having a problem of pulling blue into my yellow area, but it's not really making it green, so that's alright. Okay, so we've got kind of a yellowish colour happening there. Let's just pull a little bit more of it up into here. Maybe not that far. Oh, the thing with gradients is that they start to look funny. It looks like you're getting them backwards, but it's a trick of the eye. Alright, maybe it's time to switch over to my other favourite brush. So this is our fan brush. When it's dark brown, it's bristle. When it's light brown, it's smooth. And this is the one that I go to for sky blending. Ooh, pulling up a bit too much colour there. So just coming through here, we're trying to eliminate some of those long straight brush strokes. Just get a bit more of an organic look to the sky here. Kind of a cloudy pattern happening. Let's work on that seam there a bit as well. Just kind of fluffing those hard lines that we could see, make everything a bit softer and smoother, blending it all together. There we go, a bit more up here. Alright, that's starting to look pretty good. Now looking at the reference image, it gets kind of almost orange by the bottom there, so let's take a bit of this goldy kind of colour, mix that in with the light yellow, and let's take a little bit of actual orange, throw that in too. There we go, that's a nice kind of colour. So let's just chuck some of that in down the bottom here. And clean our brush, and then just blend, making circular motions, keeping my brush in contact with the canvas to just smooth the transition here. Big scrubbing motions across there, let's just blend it out a bit. Now the very bottom of this isn't going to matter too much because we're going to be putting all this, dark landscape stuff there. So as long as we're getting the tones we want for the bottom of the sky, it's fine. There we go. Now it kind of gets, a lot of that's bright yellow from the clouds in there, but I feel like we need a bit more yellowish colour in there. Let's get a bit more of that yellow. Oh no, you don't want to mix that with the gold. It starts to kick on a greenish brown colour. Okay, there we go. This is a little bit stronger yellow than we had before, and we'll just lay a bit of this in here. And then starting from inside the yellow and blending out into the rest. Just kind of bring that yellow tint into that part of the sky. Starting in the yellow, blending back and forward as I step out into the blue. Yeah, there we go, that's coming together nicely. Swirl all that out through there. Soften the boundaries down here a bit too. Okay. Now, sometimes when I'm painting from a photograph like this, I tend to get a bit caught up in trying to get all the details exactly right, try to make it look exactly like the picture. And I have to remind myself, hey, we're making a painting. If we wanted the picture, we could just have the picture, The result's a digital file either way. You can upload a photograph or you can upload the output from Vermillion. You can look at them the same way. So what's the point of making a painting if it's just going to be exactly the same as the photograph? So I have to remind myself about that kind of thing and just say, look, it doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same. As long as it looks pretty in the end, that's what's important. That's what it's about. It's a transformative process. We don't want to just make exactly what's in the picture. But we would like to, on the other hand, we would like to represent what was in the picture as well. So there's a balance to be drawn between the two. All right. Now, another important thing I like to do when working from a picture is take a step back. So I teleport myself back to the corner of the space here and have a look at it from a distance and see what I think. So I can see now that that yellow bit I put in is pretty good, but we need a bit of whitish color above it. So this area here is very, very bright. It's bright in the clouds and it's bright in the sky. So I'm going to get some white. Yeah, just plain pure white. I'm just going to throw some white in there to brighten things up, and then give it a bit of a blend so it's not sitting there being pure white, but lightens that area. Okay, now it's lighter than it was before. another step back and evaluate. Yeah, kind of need to blend it through with the lighter yellow again in between. More of that in there. Get some of that more solid yellow between those. Okay, let's just blend all those. Trying to avoid having too much of the blue showing in between those bits. Oh, I've pulled some of that blue back in. Getting blue stripes. That's alright. Just blend it away. Alright, so now, looking at it, it'll probably do. It's all subject to change anyway as we go. So we've got a basic sky shape here. It's kind of messy in there. Let's smooth that out a bit. We've got a basic blue sky, just about ready. Put some clouds on it. So what are we going to need? We're going to need orange. We're going to need this darkish kind of color here. It's going to be almost a pinkish orange up there. So I'm going to clear my palette. And let's see, we need a darkish orangey blue color. I mean, there is no orangey blue. Orange and blue make grey. So that's a darkish grey and it's got an orange tinge to it. So let's get some orange. Let's get some dark blue. Some more dark blue in there. A bit more. And we're starting to get a browny, orangey colour. Let's take some white, lighten that up, and we've got a wood kind of colour, not what I'm looking for. That's getting kind of green. Well, I guess we could just go with making a pure grey out of black and white. Let's have a look at that. What do we think of that? Now that I look carefully, it's almost kind of a purpley colour in there, isn't it? So maybe we need to throw in a little bit of this crimson, a little bit of this blue, this kind of purpley grey. What do you think of that colour? Or is it that one down there? Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for. Let's put a little bit of white with that. Just a touch more blue in there. What do you think of that colour? Yeah, that's a close kind of colour for what we want. Let's put some of that on there. Clean this off. Pick up some of that. Alright, so that's my base dark colour for the clouds, shall we say. Now let's turn on the projector so we can see where we're working. I've currently got the projector on overlay mode, which essentially wipes out everything behind it when it's up full. If I put it on multiply instead, then we get interesting effects on the colors. I prefer overlay. Just turn it back a bit so we can see where the clouds need to be. All right, big soft fan brush, cloud base color. Let's go. Let's start in here with all these thick dark bits. So we'll just pattern a bunch of that in there like that. Setting in around that basic shape. Throwing out a paint. Go some more. So I'm just kind of marking out where the shape of these clouds are. We'll have to work on their color and shape as we go. But this gives us an impression of where they need to be. Oh, I just brought some paint back to the palette from the sky. Never mind, let's blend it back in. It's fine. All right, let's stop and have a look at what's under that overlay. Some cloud shapes. Yep, and where they've been thinned out a bit, they seem to be pretty good color for what we're looking for, I think. So let's just take the dry brush in there and give everything a bit of a blending over, soften out some of those shapes and colors. So again, just dry brush, circular motions in contact with the canvas, just thins out the paint. Let's blend in with the background colors behind it. Those ones are a bit too brushstroke visible. Let's just give them a bit more of a smearing. Yeah. Okay. And polish them out a bit. Yeah, that's what this feels like. I feel like polishing. It's a polishing kind of motion. Just smooth away all the hard edges. Yeah, so we've got a lot of the grey in there. There's big orange that we need to deal with as well. So let's turn that view back on. All right, let's put in a bit more of the background that the orange is going to live through. So some of those greyish areas, let's just touch them in. Oh, there's a fair bit in there too. So the whole cloud formation there, down there, bit in there. Oh, that brush is getting light. dark stripe there. Some spotty bits there. And all of this is going to need to be having a dark background for the orange to sit on top of anyway, so I may as well just lay it in there. And then we'll see how we go. So let's see what I've done. I have made dark shapes, which is fine because that's what the orange wants to sit on. Just try and scrub away some of that there. Kind of erasing that whole cloud there. Okay, so that's that one I'm looking at there. So that does need to be fairly solid, although it's going to be mostly orange. Scrub around the edges a bit, make it a bit softer. Oh, pulling a bit too much into the outside there, so we'll just scrub back. So using this soft fan brush, it generally start in the color that you want things to be, and you can kind of erase other things by just dragging that color into them. Erase or blend. Anyway, there we go. That's the base of that. Let's start playing with some orange. So, how bright is that orange? Yeah, this is pretty much exactly the orange we need. Matches it pretty much spot on. So I'm just going to take some of that. And what is it? It's kind of the bottom of these clouds that really gets it. So just lay some in under there. Oh, there. Kind of stripes of it through here. Speckly kind of bits up through there. I think that's fair. We're going to need some yellow to find some of the brightest parts of those. Definitely going to need some yellow through the bottom of those ones. Let's get a little bit in the bottoms of that bit too. Alright, so that's time to blend that now. So let's blend the orange and the yellow a bit. Blend the edges of that orange. Kind of doesn't want to blend smoothly with that purple so much, does it? Oh, there we go. We got some sort of darker orange colour going on there. This is basically the majority of what I do when I'm painting skies. I put some colour on, and then I push it around a whole bunch and see what happens. feel like we're not quite getting the right feeling of colour in here. I may have used a bit too much of that yellow. We'll see what I can figure out. A bit of a push around and see what happens. Oof. Let's just rub out some of those scratchy blotches there. Yeah, those bits of sky a bit more. Step back and have a look. Alright, so from a distance I can see it looks much too yellow in those clouds. It needs to be more orange. So let's put some more orange back in them. A bit of a blend over. Now, what do we think? It's better. Still not quite where we want it, but it's better. Let's get some more of this purple going on for contrast. Back through here, we need some more purple. Couple of stripes through there. With a bob in there. More through here. Yeah, if we were to take some of this and put a bit more red in it. And if we touch a little blue into that, what will we get? There we go, that's the kind of orangey purple I'm looking for now. Let's put some of that up there. If we touch a little bit more blue into there, makes it black. Let's put some white in there to see what. So, yeah, let's clear that off. Restock with our saved colours. There's our reddish orange. There's our kind of darker colour. So let's get some of this red orange and put that around our yellowy orange. See if that helps. Yeah, I think that's looking a bit better. Just fluff all this out a bit more. Again, I've got to remind myself it doesn't matter if it doesn't look exactly like the picture, like the photograph. As long as it has a look that I enjoy, that's the important thing. We're not after 100% accuracy here. This is very flat and that's very rippled, so I need more of these purple gaps in amongst this. I will try not blend them right out. Let's get a bit more of this. Put that down here. Maybe some of that original orange, just to light it up. And smooth over some of that, but not lose too much definition. I lost a bit too much purple there. Let's throw that back in there again. There we go. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice. So I'm going to want some... How does this work? We've got bright bits underneath those. So. And then need some of this. Right in the middle of those bits. And then give it all a bit of a softening, just a little bit. Yeah. Now all those little puffs out there are going to need spots of orange. I'm going to need an orange with some more white attached. Some of those lighter bits out there. Like all of that section out there. Let's turn this, yep, so this bit up here. I want some nice light orange. Soften the edges of those a bit. Now often as I soften these, I lose the main orange colour there. I end up with just kind of a bluish white body of the cloud. That's okay. Soften them out. Get the general shape, and then we can come back and add some more orange to them as required. Just get them in there as a general kind of lightness. Scrub out some of this a bit more over here. So more of this orangey white. Oh, that's really coming out as white, isn't it? Just scrub it back a bit more on there. Okay, those are kind of nice. Now, something I haven't really played much with is thinner. Let's have a go thinning some of this paint. See if I can give us an effect that will be useful. So if I take some of this thin and kind of apply it up here, what do I get? That kind of works. And what happens once I clean my brush? If I scrub over those. Oh, can disappear the colour, make them into blotches of not much. It's an effect for clouds though, isn't it? It's a type of cloud. It's not quite the cloud in the picture, but now these over here, some of them have a bit of a whitish kind of tinge around the bottom of them, so let's do some of that. That's a bit too bright. Let's put some of that there and play with the thinner some more. Alright, so a bit of thin, oh, still coming through pretty strong. Let's give a bit of a scrubbing over and see what we get. Right, that's a look. Let's get some of this thinner out. Soften the edges of those a bit more. Some of this thin purple. Got a whole section here that I haven't done any of that orange with yet. Take some of this thin orange. See if I can build some clouds there. That's interesting. Kind of the opposite of the normal blending that I do. We start off with the base colour and then we get... This works quite nicely actually, I like this. We can use a bit of dark through some of that as well. Let's just play some dark in on there. Blend it out a bit. Interesting. Alright, some more orange for this dark area. Let's take some of the solid stuff. Get a big stripe of it through there. Some more of the thin stuff. See how that goes. Yeah. No, not really the effect I was looking for there with the thinner. Let's get some of this dark orange. I want the lighter colours through here. Pulling the edges of those a bit. light one. So it's a bit richer. This lighter kind of one. So cut up through there. Well, we're getting something. It's not quite the same as the picture, the photograph, but it's definitely something. Some more of this light. Hopefully, and get it into here a bit. Let's take some plain white, thin it in with the purple there. Nope, that's not what I want. Oh, that's strong. Let's blend that out a bit. And we'll get some more of that purpley grey colour. Oh, thinning it out to nothing there again. Oh, that thinner is powerful there, isn't it? I can just put some of that through there. Some more of those. Give it all a bit of a polish. More of those blobby kind of shaped ones up here. And they need an even redder orange. Some of that. Throw a little bit of white in there. Yep, something like that. Let's just touch that in on the bottoms of. Oh, too white. Just give those a little bit of a polish. what's all this down here? I haven't really worked on this bit at all, have I? Need some more of that orange, yellow, some of that yellow. Scrub out all of that needs to be pretty transparent. Some more white in under those ones. Get some more purple back on top of them. We've got some white sections in through here as well. We need to take care of. Some white in the background there. Scrub that colour into there. And then some more of this covering back over it. Let's put a bit of that white in there again. Nice thin white. That kind of. Oh, not so much in there though. Okay. Sort of thinned cloud through there. From a distance, it looks like there's some quite light stuff going on through the edge there. Let's just get some of that in there and see how it goes. Yeah, that kind of works. Use a bit more dark in here. And some more of these light patchy ones coming up against it through there. Don't want to soften them too much, lose too much of their colour. Maybe get a little bit of that colour just along the edge, bottom edge of that. Lacking orange through this section. Maybe a bit much. A bit of a scrub, see what we think. Yep, alright, that looks alright there. That last lonely cloud on the bottom there. Those ones up there are way too white still. Those ones, that's a problem. Need to fade out those quite a bit more. Just can't quite see how to do that. Get the like orange straight against the blue. Well, let's just paint in some peachy coloured bits and hope for the best. There is always this one as well. Now this brush is kind of like a smear tool. It doesn't blend so much as just push things around. So does that do me any good? Make things soft. Smeary. Is that the effect I'm looking for in this particular part of the sky? This is the brush I was using for sky and clouds all the time at first, but then I kind of decided I didn't like the look it gave so much. A bit too melted looking, so I changed over to the soft fan brush for most stuff after that. Yeah, no, I don't really like how that one turned out. Just scrub that all away. well, it's made some wisps of a colour. Now, I keep erasing this big one, which is meant to be kind of solid, so let's put some of that back in. Put it out there like that. Some of this dark colour at the top of it. A bit of a blend. It's a lot whiter than it should be. It needs to be more orange. Oh, let's just leave that bit like that then. Seems pretty good. What's happening here? Don't need so much dark colour there. Need another stripe of yellowy orange colours. So I need some of these darker ones. There's a lot happening in there. Some more of that dark in behind all those things. Some more of this white orange. Just on those ones. Bit of a smear. Throw a little bit of pure white in there just to brighten things out. Just wisps of that there. A bit more of that there, and then wisp it out again. A little bit of the dark. Fade it away. This thing down here, this needs some orange. And some blending. More most of it. Oh, that orange. Yep, that seems alright. Let's get a bit more of this yellow colour down here. Some of this yellow-orange for a cloud in there. Some lighter colour at the bottom of it. A bit of a scrub. And a thick dark purple one just in through there. And then soften it. A few yellow splodgy bits there. Oh, that needs to be yellow with white. Make it really stand out. I think we've reached a brightness limit there, haven't we? Those have dark splodges just directly above them. Ugh, making a mess of those. Let's just scrub them out. So what are they? Yellow, and then so for that to display so well against the background, I think the background needs to be a bit darker in that part of the sky. Okay, now we can get some of this light yellow and we'll just put a few stripes. Put that in there like that. It's a bit more rich yellow on top of it. And then we can get these purple splodges. Just on the bottom of that a bit. There we go. Alright. Oh, and one more light orange bit just through the bottom of there. There we go. A sky holding a lot of the similar components. I think I focused too hard on these things, but never mind. Let them be. Alright. So, I mean, we could fiddle all day with this sky and still not get it matching the picture. We just got to remind ourselves it doesn't have to be exact. It's fine. Kind of just want to put a bit more of that red-orange, yellow-orange. Just want to touch a bit more of that in under some of those bits. Yep, that'll do. Alright. So, now, what do we got next? We've got vague shapes of hills in greenish colours. Let's take this colour, greenish blue. Let's put some black in it, darken it down. Put a bit more blue in it. That needs to be much greener. Clear the palette. Start with green. Add black. Add more black. Add white. And we're going to green grey. How does that go? That actually matches that pretty well. Put a little bit more white in it. Alright, let's lay some of that on there to save it. So that's our most distant mountain colour, let's say. We'll change to the bristle fan brush at this point. And then let's go and lay in some mountain shapes. Distant hills, just tapping them in with this greyish colour. Some more of that through here. Oh, I have the hand stabilizer on. I feel like it needs to be a bit bluer over there. Needs to be darker. Yeah, that looks like the colour I want. So let's just throw in a big old hill over there, made of that colour. Just tap in a little bit of detail on the top of it. There we go. I got a darker one closer up. So let's come in with a closer one, much darker. Blend that all in a bit there. Just want it dark. smooth one and just kind of blend this all in a bit. Come back to that one. So this bit's all going to be covered by a big tree anyway. And down here we're going to need some orangey coloured water stuff. Let's take some of our existing orange. I have to thin that right down with the white. This kind of colour, yeah. Let's just throw in some orangey white reflective water bits down there. Mid-dark range. Some more mid-dark hills coming in around that. Just smooth some of this back across. Oh, that looks awful. Nope. Losing colour there. Where's our nice watercolour here? Let's just play that in again. Down through here. Yep. Maybe a little bit more. Ooh, that's a bit too much. Just a hint of that in there. Alright, that looks good. Now let's get to the real dark green stuff. Kill off all those colours. I want this to be practically black. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, tree time. So this is the bristle fan brush, just loading it up with paint and then tapping it on the canvas to create leaf shapes. So it gets a little bit washed out there in the photo due to the sunlight filtering through. I don't know if that's something I want to duplicate or not in my own picture. I may as well let it happen a bit. A little bit. Just pick up some of that lighter colour and tap it in through. All that down the bottom corner though, that's going to be just the real dark stuff. dark all the way through here. It's not so dark out there, is it? Got some other bits of dark foliage and houses and so on. Back to the fan brush. Let's keep doing foliage details. At this point, I'm just kind of improvising some extra trees because I don't want to paint the houses. Just get a slightly imaginary version of what's out there. Kind of like pre-colonial times, perhaps. If you stood here and looked out before people came and built houses here, this might be what you'd see. Soft fan brush, just blend that through a bit for the impression of some water down there. And then hard fan brush, again to just magic up around it like that. Just tap in a few other bits of tree shape in there. And that big round one in the middle sticks all the way up to there. There we go. Nice silhouette shadow stuff going on there. Some bit more dark in that tree there. All right. Now let's step back and have another look. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good now. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So, final step is make a new layer and signage. Oh, I'm going to just make it taller so I can sign it nice and small in the corner. Bring my hand up to the tip for better control. There we go. Shrink it back to the regular size. And I'd say we could call that complete. It is finished. All right, time to switch back to the avatar view. So there you go. That has been my painting process, painting a sunset landscape from a photographic reference. I hope you've enjoyed. If you do happen to paint along, follow this as a tutorial or something, please throw me a link. Let me see what you create. I'd love to see it. You can find me on the Vermillion Discord, or you can just comment on the YouTube video or whatever. Anyway, there you go. Hope you've enjoyed. This is Princess Fuzzy signing off.